Well,
Should fix that, Shannon.
well, it's okay. Because I'll call the meeting to order.
Right.
And first item, is there anything you want to add to the agenda? Closed?
Yes, I would like to add an item of the closed session. 8G, and I'd like to bump G&H down.
8G?
G to H,
G.
So G becomes H and H becomes I.
you know, you're off that.
You can never use I.
An operations matter, like section 24.
Or. Okay. Anything else?
Nothing further.
I'll move that we adopt the agenda as amended.
Amended. Names. Questions or concerns? All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Then moving on to accounts payable.
Accounts payable.
Chris? Any questions?
Yeah.
James?
Where did we buy bleachers for? The
The aluminum bleachers?
From you.
Chris?
What is the biological casework?
The TRCMPs. I guess we pay for when they need to do investigating.
I was gonna ask the same thing.
So the biological casework, it's a share between the province and the feds. The province pays 54%, federal pays 46%. Of that, what they do is they take how many, I guess, biological tests. I think that would be, actually not sure what biological testing they do, but we get a prorated share. So in 2024, there was a total cost of $961,000 over 444 tests across the province, and we had one test. So that one test became 0.18%. So that was $1,700 of the $961,000.
That's an expensive test.
So they're obviously DNA tests of some kind.
Some sort of.
For some investigation.
Yeah.
So you just said that the feds pay for 54 and the province pays for
I thought
46.
that added up to 100.
Yeah.
We're
Why we
part,
pay
then,
anything?
then we're part of that provincial portion.
Oh, right, we pay 30% of the provincial.
Oh.
I said a prorated rate for.
The prorated was 1 out of 44,000.
And then that would be of the province's 961,000 of their 46%.
Okay. Why does that fall upon the municipality?
Well, it's just like the body carrying for the body armor and all that stuff, right?
Right.
Remember all those pooling costs that are estimated and of course they go out to everybody because that's supposed to save us money. Well, sometimes that happens too. But anyway,
Okay.
Just-
Well, that's the first time I've seen that one.
Larry,
Part tech for the backup is just about $3,000. Is that just for a month or is it because it's the year end?
No, that's a monthly fee.
then there were 2 months in there. I think you paid, it's been paid twice in there. So I'm assuming just the way it fell.
The way it fell, the way we captured the payable checks.
Yeah.
But yeah, each one of those was a month.
It's been-
IT isn't free. Okay, any other questions?
I had roof in my notes, but I can't see it here now.
Roof. Yeah, there was a roof.
Yeah,
Out in the
217
landfill.
roof?
It was in the landfill. Go to the
Oh,
landfill.
it was in the landfill one?
No, town of Redcliff.
Was it? I thought it was a new.
EFT 7660. Page 3 or 2 of 2, sorry.
Oh, sorry, I lied, Chris. Just above the landfill. Unit 217, which is,
Oh, yeah, what's unit 217?
it would be a fairly new vehicle, so it'd be like maybe a tractor that needed a roof.
Why would
It
tractor
was
need a
jumping
roof?
on the roof.
Well, it's newer than our fire truck because it's 210.
So unit 217 is the 2023 Kubota tractor. We suffered damage to the roof when we were doing snow removal and we had to repair.
Did somebody drop a snow lump on it?
They ran into a side of a building.
Wow.
With the cab?
with the cap.
That's impressive.
Not the
Yeah.
building itself, but like an overhanging feature like the eaves drop there. So then it damaged a portion of the roof. We had to repair it because of a lot of the electricals and
So is this the tractor roof or the roof they hit?
tractor roof.
Like it's a Union 217, so I made a tractor.
We're gonna have another bill coming for the roof they
You
had.
know, it was only the tractor that suffered damage.
Yeah, so I saw that and I got a Union tractor.
Okay,
Did we roll over a vehicle or something?
We did not.
Okay.
well, that was a very nice question. Thank you. Sometimes I just read them and I go,
Warranty won't cover that, I
Okay.
guess.
any other interesting questions?
Mine was interesting.
The paper can't work with that tractor.
But what does it matter?
No screen,
Probably backup camera.
just a camera.
And it's,
Probably nobody qualified to use it.
So we need a decal that says, be aware of your surroundings. Okay. Seeing no other questions, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Then we'll move along to passion investment summary. Larry. Any questions or concerns? Thought? The landfill, it will have debentures maturing. But they seem to be,
Yours aren't until 2029.
oh, so that has to last a while.
at 1.8.
No, look at the bottom.
$30. Much. That's the bank fees charged that they pay.
It's just. Well, it's just, I don't know if they're done paying, are they done paying for all their holes?
There's the holdback release. But apart from that, that project is complete and funded. There's $320,000 remaining on that.
Okay. But though that investment account at 1.8 doesn't mature till long time from now.
Sorry, that's not a debenture.
Okay, so that's
That's
just them managing the money.
That's the landfill reserve, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Any other questions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried? Minutes, council minutes of January 13th, Matt. Questions or concerns? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. We done the municipal planning commission meetings, January 15th for information, Larry. Any questions about there, anything there? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? That's carried. And then FCSS board meeting of January 16th for information. James? Questions or concerns? There, Shannon? Are they worried about the $500 water budget next year? I saw it was there for discussion, so.
There was some concern, yes, experts.
What was the concern?
Kathy wanted to elaborate.
Probably not that it was too much. We were allowing them.
Same was with council, like where did all the water go? Because that was a lot of water and it's not very recognized.
So they weren't too concerned about the dollar amount that we capped them out at then.
Well, I think for the most part,
Happy. But
But we're just holding them responsible.
exactly.
I think both sides were kind of expressed, so concern wanting us to monitor more, do a little bit of digging and research. And then,
not us, it wasn't us.
yes, but anything on our end, if we're,
Oh, like our meter is out.
yes.
Why do people usually go to that as the first?
Well,
You don't want to
it
blame
could
blame
possibly
stuff.
be them.
They'll be looking
Human nature.
later in the year, in the fall, just kind of reviewing how the summer had gone and then whether or not they want to consider increasing plot fees or fees in general.
I think that's a worthy note to contemplate, yeah, because the taxpayer shouldn't be just fronting them for whatever it is. Like there's a responsibility to be a little plot gardener too.
And Melody will be having a meeting with all of them at the beginning of the season and going over the rules and the concerns and going through everything.
Go ahead, man.
Is there a way to test some here? See if it is working?
Yeah, we have people that supposedly know how to do it.
Do they though?
I don't know.
Because legit, what if there is some problem with me? Like legit, there could be.
Then we replace it.
Well, I think that particular meter probably gets pulled and put back in every year because
So, okay.
for frost protection, right? So it wouldn't be hard.
Yeah, because what was spent on water, there couldn't have been that much vegetable value coming out of there.
You can't win, even with the new price of vegetables. I don't think you can pay for that.
Well, I talked to one community member that gardens there. And she's a friend of mine and I mentioned that. And I said, well, next year your fees are probably gonna go up. And you're not gonna be happy about it. And she said, well, what's the justification? And I said, well, I said, this last year, you guys used a ton of water. She said, well, that doesn't make any sense. I said, well, it doesn't, but this is what the numbers say. I said, it was a poor amount of water. And I showed her the dollar values from the minute package. She's like, oh, well, I would cap it off too. That makes logical sense.
Yeah.
So,
Well, really, it should be capped anyways. Shouldn't just be a free for all.
Well, it's either that or somebody's filling trucks and selling it. Anyway, it's okay. I'm glad it was talked about. And
That's our new
at least
bulk
they know
water
it's coming. Yeah, that's the new
at
one.
least it's not sinking into the ditch.
That's better than the one we have.
Okay. Any other questions then? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then moving on to bylaws. Bylaw 1982/2025 being the nuisance and unsightly premise bylaw. First reading.
I'll give the first reading.
Chris. Any questions or concerns? Larry,
Item number 14.
do you have a page number?
uh,
Would be,
14th, page 11 of 22.
but it would be what, page 28 of ours package?
Yeah, 28. No owner or occupant of a premise shall allow, permit, or cause water from a premise to directly drain onto public property or road right away, such as with the use of some upwards. Does that apply to me draining the groundwater out onto the back alley, which is supposed to be a storm drain for the whole area there?
Looks like your back alley has potholes.
That's what I say, and that back alley was on repair on the MISA repair when I came on council 12 years ago.
Oh, you're talking where you live?
Yeah. So do I have to put it back into the sewer? Because I'm saving the town money by doing that. And there is water there, but it's because the alley is in such poor repair. And it is a drainage area for the whole area and even part of Second Avenue.
So what this basically says is it can't be done, right? So
Well,
there's probably some places where something like this might happen that you could probably get approval from the town, because technically your back alley is almost paved, right?
Well, it used to be paved really nice, and the only thing, you never saw water there when it was new. But you just saw a trail when the blubber salts went to the drain. But now it's in total disrepair. And apparently, I asked this question, that we don't pave back alleys anymore or repair them, so I don't know what the heck's going on.
Okay.
But it's been in the works in MISA for years.
Hmm.
And it should be repaired. The whole alley right in, beside behind your place, then who's on Third is in really bad shape too.
It is.
And putting these screenings on that just washes them down the storm drain.
Band-aid fix for sure.
So what's the basis behind this line in the bylaw then?
Well, it would, the basis is that, say you have a sump pump, you shouldn't be pumping it all the way to the street or the laneway. Technically, you're supposed to pump it onto your yard.
But what if your
But
yard
if you've got
fronts
huge site coverage and you don't have any yard left for it to
absorb?
surface on and evaporate, then there's issues that way too. But if you're just pumping it into the back alley, well, that's gonna cause problems in the back alleys.
But if the back alley is the storm catch basin, then it's meant to.
And
keep
in,
that
and
water
in that
flow.
case, when that was working and it was asphalt, that wouldn't be near as bad as if it was a gravel laneway.
Right.
But there are people that pump onto a gravel laneway and then that causes problems. So I think that's why that's there, is you aren't supposed to do it. You're supposed to pump into a dry well, but when you already have a high water table, I sometimes wonder how that works myself. So
People in my backyard.
apparently it is all the way through there. It's only a block from him.
Because I am saving the town money by pumping it there, and there never used to be an issue
When it
where it
worked,
was in good shape, yeah. 15, 20 years have passed. And nobody's done it there. Well, it does have holes in it and it collects water.
right? Well, again, it's in there, and I think it's in there for good reason, but I think with anything, there's always exceptions.
Well, then we should make an exception if it's pumped into the storm drainage catchment. And it's basically groundwater, that it should be allowed.
Because where I see this being an issue too is people with swimming pools every fall, they pump it onto a roadway. And it flows down a road until it finally finds a catch basin, which isn't legal either, right? Because that's treated chlorinated water going into a storm. So there's reasons to have this in here.
And I mean, I can put it back into the sewer,
No, you can't. That's against the rules too.
but well, my house was built in 62 when it was in the sewer. I was just trying to save money and do it the way
Yeah, no,
that every, like the ISO report and everything says you're supposed to take this stormwater out of the.
Yep.
Out of the sewer.
that's all overflow. So yes, it is supposed to
And
be
it is,
out.
it is in the storm catch basin area. That whole area is designed as a storm area that drains into the Legion. And that's why we shovel the snow, as far as I'm concerned, in the Legion parking lot too, is because we want to keep that area clean so that it doesn't bugger up the drainage.
Okay. Is there any exceptions to anything in there?
I think we would ask Alicia to put it on the radar for operations to review. And see if
I guess this is just first reading. It goes to public hearings and everything, right?
there is a mandatory
Okay.
requirement or a public hearing.
Okay.
If there was interest, we could consider a non-statutory public hearing.
Okay.
But we can look into that matter further.
Okay. No, because like what he's saying is true. Like, we don't want it in the sanitary. But we also don't want it on gravel laneways. But that, if that was a paved laneway and it actually went to storm, that's not near as bad.
But that's just that one example. There could be other examples where we don't want it going in the gravel.
Right.
Anyways, yeah.
Yeah.
So we can look at that further.
Okay.
There's probably a way to reword that to catch the emphasis of it.
Well, or just there, I know in some of these bylaws, there were at the discretion of somebody, right?
It
Yes.
actually says that in this bylaw too.
Yeah.
You were talking about your graffiti thing.
And
It does say at discretion of, or
The owner.
except for in exceptions, the town can permit though. So I think that kind of handled your concerns, did it not?
No, but
We're not on we're on this,
Well,
okay,
Gary against graffiti, and I'll talk about that tonight.
or, no, it's part of the bylaw,
Yeah, it's part of this one. Yeah.
but we were on this topic
Well,
first, okay.
we were done this stuff.
Okay, we're done with 14, okay, noted.
So,
Anything else?
yes, so I did have concerns. When I read through this bylaw on the weekend, I had sent it to a friend of mine that does mural art. That some people call,
Be good friend for everything.
I knew,
I think more people would vote for one.
well, you think, well, no.
They don't all live here.
Yeah. He does mural art anyways, and that some people would call graffiti art. Other people like the mayor might just call it graffiti, but he had concerns with the way that item number 7 was written, because the way it is written is it can only be done if it's authorized by the town. And then it comes to the discretion of people in the town of whether or not they like the art piece in his mind. But then when I was talking to Mike about this before meeting tonight, with the definition of graffiti, it states on a surface near the end, this page 5 of 22 here, 20. Item M, near the end, it states on a surface of a premise or property without the consent of the owner, unless otherwise approved by town Redcliff. And Mike's interpretation of that is if the owner gives consent to have a mural painted on their building, then it's no longer defined as graffiti because they've given consent, in which case it nullifies this and then ergo nullifies item number 7 of the bylaw. And it's just considered art.
I agree, because graffiti, just by definition, I believe, means unwanted art.
It has a definition here,
Well, that's not necessarily,
but it is the
this is the
definition.
definition we're using.
Yes,
Yeah,
In my mind, I would agree that it is unwanted.
yeah, so with it explained that way, then if the artist were to go to the building owner and say, hey,
Or vice versa.
or vice versa, yeah, I'd like to paint this mural, or hey, can you paint this mural? Then there's an agreement that yes, this should be there, in which case then the town wouldn't, like it wouldn't be, I guess, in contravention of the bylaw.
simple.
But then it was brought up, but what if it's offensive? For example, I might have sent someone some pictures today that might have been religious artwork, and to some people that could be considered offensive. To other people, it might not be considered offensive. Or what if someone said, I want you to paint a swastika on the side of my building? To some people, that might be okay. To some people, that might be offensive. So then where do you draw a line? And who's the defining authority? Was the concern.
So it gives the definition of graffiti there, and I believe somewhere else in here, it talks about things that are detrimental to the neighborhood or surrounding properties.
Yes.
So again, it is always open to interpretation. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Because an owner could hire somebody to paint whatever you want to call it on a wall. And yeah, it might be very offensive to somebody else. And then guess what? We have to deal with it. So.
I think the trend for graffiti revitalizing neighborhoods is more so in commercial sectors. Like I was saying to you, I don't think there should be something that's allowed in our general districts. I think just commercial and residential, and industrial.
Well, one thing that I talked to him about, and I brought this up with Shannon and Mike this evening, is when after the last election, we talked about like what are our core values and what do we see as economic development and what do we see as the vision for the town and what do we want to see in the downtown core area. And unless I'm remembering wrong, which is highly possible, like art and culture was something that we said, yeah, that could be a priority for the town, for the downtown core area to try to attract people and whatever, right? And so it would fall in line with that if we were talking about murals or artwork or so on and so
And in the
forth.
downtown core.
Yeah, on commercial property.
I think that's where it makes sense and makes, where it looks best. You don't want random houses with
Actually,
Bob Marley
he
on
wants
them.
to paint your bit.
Which bit, well, the garage might fall over if he paints it.
Anyways, that,
So are you suggesting any changes to it?
no, I don't think so. I think the way that Mike explained it to me and what was kind of the intent behind it, then that kind of answered all of the questions and unknowns. But the only thing that I would say then is with it being considered offensive or unsightly, then it's open to interpretation.
Well, I think just allowing any of it all of a sudden opens it up to opinion.
True.
Then it might be unoffensive today, but as public's opinion changes, it might be offensive tomorrow.
Just invite Brian up to, sorry, Brian.
Hey,
Brian up just.
There's 5.
Just to clarify.
You don't know.
wording-
Let's not ruin the ending for it.
Clarify the wording in the land use bylaw. If you could just speak to that just briefly.
I don't think I've ever seen your face turn as red that quick.
I wasn't paying attention to you. It's like it wasn't my item. I didn't have to listen.
I just want to make sure that they're fully aware of it.
Insofar as the land use bylaw is concerned, murals are allowed. We treat them the same as we would a fascia sign. Or if there's really no recommendation or no need for development permits for it, it should be treated and follow the same guidelines as a fascia sign in the land use bylaw.
So but is there a definition difference between a mural and graffiti art?
No, it's not in the land use bylaw. We do have a definition for a mural. Count on my fingers to do the alphabet, but. Mural means a picture, scene, graphic, or diagram displayed on the exterior wall of a building for the primary purpose of decoration or artistic expression and is not created solely display messaging to a market, an event, business, or promotion.
Yeah, so I think that definition would encompass what,
Graffiti art.
Well, again, it's opinion. That's,
You can make this 1,000 pages long.
and
Miss
something
something.
still, it's just subjective.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Brian.
you can go back to your nap now.
Gotta go with
So
right
I
hand
guess-
now.
I think he just wanted to talk. I don't think he wanted to change anything.
Oh, you,
I wasn't gonna bring it up until Chris mentioned it.
Okay,
sorry, I thought you were gonna bring it up.
Well, I was, but then we talked about it. Where the meeting be.
I didn't know you had a pre-meeting with
all
them.
right. Is there anything else going on?
Just trying to be like city manager.
Okay, excellent. Does anybody else have any questions or concerns? Not? All in favor? Opposed?
Changing it.
No, we're looking into it.
We're gonna look into it.
Were you opposed to it?
Yeah, that was opposed, yeah. All right, bylaw number 1983/2025, bylaw to amend land use bylaw 1957/2023. It's your first
I'll
reading.
move first reading.
James.
I figured you'd be against it.
So I've had some discussions with the property owner regarding this property. And on January 2016, Gross Developments did in fact submit a land use bylaw amendment to rezone the property at 522nd Street Southeast from R-Gen to R-Medium, which is medium density district. The house that is there right now has had some flooding damage and it's no longer habitable. So they want to remove the house and put up a proposal as a fourplex, which I do believe we see on the next couple of meetings. That has been the first, that's his first proposal of it. Actually, next page. 2 pages down, I guess.
I gotta keep scrolling.
Keep going. Keep going.
It's a site plan. There it is.
That is the first proposal we've seen. We're still going back and forth on what that would look like. Under our land use bylaw amendment that we will be seeing next, a fourplex would fit in this lot as it is a 75-foot lot. So that would still fall under your 60 units per hectare for maximum density.
Any more that takes care of the 1.5 parking spots per dwelling.
And he'll have to come up with 1.5 parking spots.
Well, he has 8 here, does he not?
Yeah, I mean, again, we shouldn't look at this as being exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, it looks very rough.
But that's just what he's proposed as a fourplex. Just to bring up that your municipal development plan shall recognize that the residential core as a high priority growth area and shall, by promoting and encouraging redevelopment of those older homes, and that the town should encourage and promote density housing and neighborhood commercial uses along major corridors. Just the area, not quite as visible in that picture, but the area surrounding it is predominantly single-family homes. I don't know if there's any multifamily homes within close proximity of that.
400 block, right? Dr. Barnes has got a duplex there, right? Across from the church.
Yeah.
But it's a corner lot and it's built from, it doesn't look like it when you drive by quick.
Right. Yeah. And that is, when the development permit comes in, we're going to work on making it less looking like that.
Well, when I was reading this, he says a whole bunch of nice things in his points, and then that drawing basically throws it all out the window. Because he talks about aesthetics and how, you know, they could build it with roof lines and stuff and make it blend into, because it's predominantly single family dwellings all around. And then he goes and eliminates street parking because he puts 4 parking stalls, like he just, everything in it just takes away from it looking anything like a quiet street.
So one of my discussions.
And I don't know what authority you have when it comes to those kind of
Well, again, the
subtleties.
MDP does state that we want to keep that single family home look into our town.
Mhm.
So again, one of the discussions I have had with Gross Developments, and again, this is very initial as we haven't seen the development permit application, is that we want to make it look more like a house than a fourplex, your standard 1970s fourplex, which is just a square box, which is,
Like I say, all the stuff I read in their
Very small.
lead up was nice, and then poof.
Well, you can tell it's a very rough draft.
Through the chair.
Go ahead, Larry.
Have the neighbors been notified? They'll give them a leave.
Well, no, because we haven't given it first reading. When we give, if we approve the zoning change, then that's when everybody gets notified, right?
First reading.
after first reading, we do have to advertise it for 2 weeks. And there will be a public hearing, and we have in the past just circulated it to the adjacent neighbors.
This is just here for the ask.
This will be going in front of the Municipal Planning Commission on the February meeting for comments only.
The chair, it is a 50-foot law,
75.
75-foot law, okay.
So the last time we had something like this come before us, for a zoning thing over on 6th Street, I remember Brian was that when it comes to rezoning from single to medium, we shouldn't be focusing on the details of the development, because again, it's just a proposal and whatnot. We should be focusing on, do we support more dense development in the area? right? The detail will get hashed out during the development permit process and then whatever with the development officer, but for a rezoning application, getting hung up on the details is not necessarily, in my opinion, too, the right way of looking at it should be, do we want more dense residential or do we not want more dense residential?
And I think another big factor is the parking factor. That's why I mentioned it too.
Well, sure, but again, those are development details. At this point, it's, do we support more dense development in the town core, or do we not?
Yeah, I personally don't think we need to throw up too many roadblocks. Promote growth. Promote investment.
Well, it's the whole movie's the other again. But anyway, yeah.
And
So-
under your land use bylaw amendment, which we'll be seeing next, the proposal is that they could do 5 units. And still fit underneath that 60 units per hectare.
Yeah.
So which is,
Oh, well, that'd be 7.5 parking spots. Okay.
But you wouldn't get green spaces and amenities and other things that
And the private.
that was talked about.
You're right.
Anyway, that's what we're way too far. Again, this is the ask is, do you want to change it from our gen to our meeting? Like I say, this letter is all nice.
Yeah, it's fluffy.
Yeah, but yeah. So I guess that's things down the road.
Did somebody make a motion?
I think James did.
I did, yeah.
So any other questions or concerns? Not, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. And then moving on to bylaw 1984/2025 to amend bylaw number 1957/2023, the land use bylaw. For the first reading. First reading. Okay, this is all the numbers that we talked about.
You just read the same bylaw we just passed for first reading. To amend it.
No, I'm pretty sure I read this one.
1984.
1984 instead of 1983.
But we are amending the land use bylaw, which is the same number.
I read
Yeah,
this one.
sounds good. I was looking at that. Yeah. I heard the 19,
Yeah,
the 1957.
it's very nice. Okay. Okay. Does anybody have any questions or concerns? I know we've talked about this numerous times.
if I may, there was a bit of a change from what was brought to council before. We did amend the definition of development officer in the glossary. Just to mean a person or persons appointed as the development officers of the town. So that definition is also being proposed to be changed. So you guys council would not have seen that before. There's as well as there is the red line for the land use bylaw here is attached as well.
Anybody have any questions or concerns?
Just one here. It sees shipping containers was removed. 39,108, they're going. Is there a reasoning for that, or I don't remember
I
talking
got
about.
added in somewhere.
I think it was a formatting and order thing.
Oh, yeah, it was just-
It got moved down, yeah, it's still in there in a big red paragraph.
It was
It's only allowed in,
alphabetical order.
Oh, okay, my apologies, I must have missed that. Yeah.
it's in there in all red. Not allowed in residential, only allowed in commercial. No, it's in there somewhere. Lots of red.
Rob's house.
Oops. Shipping containers
Oh,
on page 91.
It's up a page.
That's why I scrolled too fast. I saw it twice.
And it was just merely to fix a formatting error.
And when we've always hashed around with these numbers, you've always liked to stay with 60 and 70, not 55, right? Because you don't want to be middle.
That's
Well, it just, because you just mentioned it again, and a 75 footer can be a fiveplex.
75 by 130 lot will come out to be that 5.62.
Right.
Under a 60 unit.
Under at 60, whereas at 55, I don't think it would make 55. Anyway, it would make it simpler, I think, but
So your land use bylaw currently says 60.
Yeah.
Right now. So
those are the new numbers that we came up with, because before they really didn't have numbers.
no, in the R medium, they always had 60. They didn't in the R medium business district. They did.
Okay,
Or mixed business district, we didn't. But, so we're adding that into that R, ME, or D, which is our mixed residential business district. We're gonna add that 60 units per hectare for a ceiling, and then for your apartments, it'll be the 70 units per hectare
for a minimum.
for minimum. So we're adding that into that MRBD,
Okay.
and then your R medium always had 60 units per hectare as maximum density. All we're doing is adding in that floor for apartment.
Okay, well, we'll see how it flies.
I mean, if council,
Well, no, it just, so so even what we just did in the last motion by changing it to R medium, if we, with these numbers as is, there's technically no appeal to a fiveplex if it meets conditions.
oh yeah, no, it's still appealing. It's not a permitted use, it's still discretionary.
It's a discretionary use, what, okay. Okay, just so the neighbors still have a say. That's it, and in some ways, it's good that the neighbors have a say, and then in other ways, the NIMBY kicks in and then nothing happens. So it is, there, it's not a nice place to be.
One of the things we've done in our R medium is we've taken the duplexes that used to be a discretionary use, and we put them into permitted uses in that R medium district.
Right.
We've taken apartments and multifamily unit dwellings out of the permitted uses and put them in.
Okay, so that change, okay, that makes the neighbors have a say. So duplexes are
Yes.
not questionable.
Right, that's a permitted use in
Yeah,
our medium.
yes.
The density will be very minimal.
Right, okay. Okay, no, that's fine.
That's what we're talking about.
And then why are freestanding solars not allowed in residential?
They're allowed in residential, you just need a permit for
Oh, okay. And no permit if you're putting it on the roof.
it, correct?
Because I thought I read in here that they were allowed in commercial, but not residential.
No, they're allowed in both.
Okay,
I mean, again, though,
because they make some actually fairly funky looking ones. Like they look like art on a pole.
yeah, no, you allow them. You do
Not
have
quite
density.
like graffiti, but,
You have your maximum site coverage, where you cannot go over that, but yes,
right. So you can't just shade your lawn.
be smart.
All right. No, I thought I read in here that they weren't allowed in residential, the solar panels on roofs and walls, but not freestanding.
You just don't need permits for that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or concerns? Not move for first reading, all in favor? Opposed, carried. Then request for decisions. The 2025 municipal election data sharing agreement for consideration.
We're gonna have to do town Redcliff. Office of Chief Electoral Officer.
Any questions or concerns? So there's no pricing in here. It just says it'll be what it is.
It's legislated, so we don't have much choice but to follow through with it
And pay what they ask.
and provide them the information that they ask for. Yes, I don't know that there's a cost involved other than for us producing.
I thought I read in here that if you needed information from them and there was a fee for it, you'd have to pay for it.
Yes, that could be the case.
And then they'll get us to send them the information and charge us to get the stats back. It's a good system. Yes. But it's legislated. Okay. Did somebody? Oh, James did. Sorry, I didn't write it down. I didn't write it down and then I got lost. All right.
Like how it's a slope fence.
Well, this used to be an old counselor's house, eh?
Who's it?
It used to be Woodings, but he left town in 1989 because Redcliff was going to hell in a handbasket.
Where's Phil at now?
He must have moved. I know his wife had to move out a while ago and
Oh, the garage is too close to our property line too, isn't it?
The garage is now compliant with the land use bylaw.
which garage? The garage or the garage built on the garage or the garage on the garage or the garage on that one?
It is considered legal non-conforming by today's, by the Municipal Government Act, because it predates the land use bylaw.
Is there anything we can do? And I realize obviously by the change in names, it's already sold and things like that, but you, on that drawing, it also shows there's a covered area in the back. And then there's like about 3 sheds all stacked up against the fence, you know, and
Crooked.
all of the sheds, like in our land use bylaw, for many, many times, we're supposed to be a meter off the fence, right? We're not supposed to park them right to the fence.
Right there, yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Correct.
And you see, it said covered storage. Like, is there any way we ever clean up some of these lots? Or we just hope that the new owner will, or?
So as per the Municipal Government Act, if it predates this bylaw, the assumption will be is they had approval.
But some of this stuff got put in and nobody looked. Like, it can't be all as old as, what, not, are we saying 1975? When was there land use bylaws that actually said your garden sheds had to be a meter off the fence? It's quite a while back, right?
How do you prove it now when it was put there?
You carbon date the shed. If we gotta take the article of the,
Count the rings.
okay.
Count the
So
rings.
just use old recycled wood.
Like, no, yeah, that's right. You'd have to use barn board to build your sheds and then it predate. bylaw.
The town,
No arc days.
town could go with it under enforcement, provided they can prove. Which, I mean, to some degree, we can with historical photographs. We can prove that the shed was put there at a time when the land use bylaw required it to be a meter off.
Right.
So there's an enforcement mechanism on that. However, on this particular one, I would say I don't even know if all those are still there. Because this was done at the time of the RPR, this is what was existing. So this would have still been when the old Phil used to.
Okay, so this could be a really old RPR.
Well, March 18th.
Okay, because to me, that would also, if we went back through time, every time it's sold, we'd know when things got added. Because sometimes things like that get caught. All of a sudden, there's some new thing there that wasn't there.
Okay, I guess. Yeah, hopefully, except for under your Land Surveyors Act, they're not required to put any buildings that are less than 10 square meters
Hmm.
on an RPR.
Okay,
So
so all those sheds wouldn't have to be
there
there.
may or may not.
We also know that enforcement of things like that doesn't seem to go so well.
We also have town aerial photos, and that house has been there for a long, long time.
Property.
Yeah.
That's one of the older properties in town, so.
Yeah, I know some stuff, like the house and garage, for sure, that's been there forever, but like some of that other stuff, whatever. Nope, it's their deal, not mine. It's just if you're the neighbor and. Anyway,
Here's the grumpy neighbor.
I don't
That's
know.
why I lives on the corner, less neighbors.
Yeah,
That's smart.
I only got, well, there's always neighbor. Okay, Silly question. Chris moved. Any other questions? All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Special events application for consideration.
Yes.
Chris is excusing himself. at
Yes, I will.
7:50.
Stay and say the application.
It's gonna be a positive motion.
I'll stay to answer any questions.
The same joke we make every year.
All in favor?
Opposed.
Okay,
I'll move that we approve the,
James,
with all of the conditions.
any questions or concerns?
Birthday in a couple days.
Alicia, what did they have to fill the holes with? Not just beer, right?
No, not here.
Oh, the holes in the asphalt?
Yeah.
We didn't ask you.
Full mix would suffice for that area.
We're making him fill holes in the asphalt. Maybe he should go down the alley behind the.
That's right. We should make him put up a tent by that drainage.
Yeah, then you could fix your alley while he's at it.
Well, he comes over with treats and everything, and I enjoy the music.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's really nice, especially if it's a nice night, but he's had a few bad years. Weather wasn't so good.
Bed.
So you don't pay for the cover, you just sit in your backyard on a lawn chair in the hot tub.
Yeah,
I bring him over a beer.
Can we do a negative motion on this?
No, it's already made.
Anything positive motion. We can vote it down though.
Okay. I don't see too many other questions or concerns. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Welcome back, Chris.
Thanks.
7:50. Sponsorship request, Special Olympic Canada Summer Games.
See for information.
Chris?
Are they having any events in Redcliff?
No. So this is now in the hands of as it gets closer to the date, they seem to be bringing on more personnel because this is the first person that's officially reached out to us. Of course, this has been talked about for at least 2, possibly 3 years already. And at one time, there was probably events, like in this package, there's a whole bunch of events that you could sponsor and all that. At one time, I think they were available. I don't even know what's left. Like, I don't know if anything is left to truly sponsor other than just flat out giving them money. I don't even know when this got awarded to Medicine. I could say 3 years ago. Right after COVID. Maybe during COVID.
I just don't see any economic impact for Redcliff if nothing is happening in Redcliff.
Well, hotel's already full.
Exactly. Hotel. The hotel's probably not.
Well, you moved it for receive for information.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then sponsorship request for the Rise Up Hot Air Balloon Festival.
for information.
Larry? Any questions or concerns?
Are they doing any of the events in Redcliff?
That's in the dark years.
Came up last year.
You know, we didn't give anything to them last year, I think.
All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. And then the 2025 Alberta Chamber of Commerce Provincial Conference.
I'll move that.
What's his name?
James.
Took his hat off.
I'm gonna start wearing my hat to council. You get my name way too much. Graffiti.
Any questions or concerns? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Policies. Policy number 35 being the sanitary sewer blockage policy. Consideration. Chris was first.
Chris was
After his long story earlier tonight.
He's adjusting his glasses.
Well, that's like being,
Well, now
you own it.
Blinker auctions there.
Yeah, it was.
That's gonna be a pretty good thing for the lady who's not happy with the town right now, or?
We still have one in place that would cover us for any incidentals like that.
So I had written in my notes that I thought there was something that was possibly contradicting. I said sanitary service costs, are they contradicting to each other?
Is it number 8?
Oh yeah, and also then there's one motion or one clause that was said notwithstanding section 2, shouldn't it be notwithstanding section 1 now? Page 2 of 4 at the top. So what used to be number 2 is now number 1.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
No.
But
Right there,
but the
20.
whole section is,
Yeah, am I reading it wrong?
I don't know, go back.
That's a subsection, isn't it?
Yeah, almost.
No, that's a section.
General information,
2.1,
okay.
2 points, sorry.
I need to investigate that. I'm gonna try to find my other one.
Okay, you're right. Not, that should be, one's totally done, so, yep. One,
One for the good guys.
one, well, that's what you want to do.
Yeah, okay, so in the new number 2, so it says that we'll pay up to a maximum of $200. And then later on, it says, in the event of sewer service blockage, the property owner is responsible for 100% of it.
If you would have come to GPC, you would have heard that explained.
Oh, I didn't.
No, you didn't.
So that makes sense?
Yes, it does. Because they're different.
One's the service, one's the main?
They're different.
See if Alicia can remember how she explained it.
I have the notes actually. Yes, one sanitary service comes off of the house and your main is in your street.
Right.
It is meant to protect us and kind of have a little bit of clarity in there to help guide us, because sometimes when we're reading it with customers, it is a little confusing on who's responsible for what. We do need substantial evidence saying that it is the town of Redcliff's responsibility.
Mm-hmm. And you get that evidence after you dig it up.
Usually.
Or send the camera up there.
Yes.
So is one referring to a service and one's referring to the main?
I'm confused with your question.
So the one that says we'll pay up to $200 referring to the service,
Private property, yes,
which would be the service then.
which is the service.
And the other one where the landowner is responsible for 100% of it, is that not the service as well?
It would depend on the circumstances of
Okay.
the blockage, and that would be
So
clearly
there is-
an investigation, yes. So
Okay, all
I
right.
can approve up to $200. Anything more than that, I need a secondary approval and to bring that evidence forward as well.
Right, and then the town could be on the hook.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Jim,
Go ahead, Larry.
do we still have power drain cleaning equipment?
I don't think so.
No, sir.
They used to,
We-
actually, I think they got rid of power stuff a long time ago. They used to have snakes that they'd give out. but-
We still have a
They're not gonna
snake.
give the snake out either.
No, we still have a snake, but it hasn't been in practice.
But if you give it to some hoodlum, the worst can happen is they got it stuck down there and.
Exactly.
They just give
And they're really dumb.
a heating phone number.
Yeah,
Well, town has a
You
snake
have
that we can use.
reliability, right? So when you go to like
You know
a
what a
grand
snake
rental
is?
station, you have to fill
Okay.
out forms and.
they
so on and
used
so
to have
forth.
one, because I even used it
So-
once. But it doesn't work. If you have tree roots or something, even if you get it out and back, they'll be collapsed back in a week, because it didn't auger them out, it just
Yeah,
squashed them to the sides.
but we have other sanitary devices flush down the toilet, then
Oh, you want to get them in the main and then it's not your problem anymore. Oy, oy, oy.
Stop flushing your gas.
Plugs up the toilet.
So we've discontinued that practice.
Yes,
I have a solution to that now. I
Okay.
didn't know I did.
apparently they took it to
No,
recon for 10 cents a pound.
We talking about now?
Snake,
Oh, it's that big?
that'd be very heavy.
Well, maybe I don't know what a snake is then.
Okay,
The big wire coil.
it's a great big flat iron coil with a ball on the end that you push down your main.
Oh, okay, I guess I've only ever seen.
It's probably, I think it probably had 200 feet of,
So what do you?
yeah, not the little augury thing you buy at Home Hardware, no.
Yeah, that's what I assumed
No,
it was.
no, no.
Maybe a little heavier duty, but
We use it for account purposes, but not for, not to-
don't load it anymore.
That is correct.
Any other don't use it.
Still use it, it's still at the
If
dock,
there
but we do
any-
not lend it out because
Is
it's
there
not
any-
like.
Is there any evidence that what went through the owner's, past the owner's property line caused problems in the main?
It can, it gets a little tricky when it does get to the main. If we got the call that a main was blocked, normally I see how many people are calling me on that, on the main, right? So if it starts at A and it starts working its way up, yes, we have a clearly defined blockage in the main. Normally what happens is somebody's pushing through their sanitary line and it gets pushed out to the main, right? It usually gets stopped at the saddle, but then we have to clean that out. So once it gets a little bit, it's hard to define, but we have our annual maintenance, which cleans all the sanitary mains every year. So we don't see a lot of those.
Because I feel that if the homeowner is responsible for his own line, that's enough. And how you can determine whether he pushed something out and blocked it is,
Well, I guess if you think about it, the main for my property is in the boulevard on the opposite side of Fifth Street. But my property line is on my side, obviously, so if I had a blockage and it got stuck in the middle of the road, is that my problem or is it the town's problem?
well, I think we're just going too far. We went from where we unplugged everybody's sewer for nothing. And now we're going to, we're going to, try and affix responsibility in the town's property.
Only if they're negligent though.
Only
Well,
if they're
but how do you
negligent.
prove it's negligence? That's-
I think you're right. It's very difficult to prove and I don't think it'll kick in very often.
No, and it would,
Yeah,
would.
the town would just have to have it most of the time.
The changes in this policy are not to put everything on the homeowner. We still have a liability and responsibility to do our maintenance on our mains. But it kind of covers some of like physical pipe failures on their own property, so on and so forth. We also have a sanitary bylaw that does not allow for certain items to be put down into the sanitary line or the main, right? So this is just trying to cover some of those bases.
Well, even the tree roots though, because it could be tree roots from the other side of the road and you say, well, you got a tree, it must be your tree, but it might not be his tree.
No, and we would have to investigate further if we ever came up to that instance, but that is also outlined in the sanitary bylaw for tree roots.
I think at one time when people would auger out lines for $100, it wasn't a big deal. And then some people came along and started charging $1,000 and it became a big deal.
Mhm.
When the town all of a sudden was getting bills that were exorbitant, that doesn't, if you get your sewer cleaned twice a year, that could be all your taxes coming back at you. That's a hell of a deal.
No, I don't think that's what I was saying at all. What I'm saying is if the homeowner's line is clear up to the property line and past that it's blocked. I have a little experience of this and I know there's a lot of town piping that's in really rough shape.
Mhm.
You know, like down on Third Street here, up until the property line, the town's pipe are usually below are full of water when you tie into them, or, you know. And it's gonna be tough.
But I think it's been like this for a while. This isn't brand new this year.
No.
This is, we stopped paying.
Well, I'm not
Quite a
saying
few
stop
years
paying.
ago.
I'm not saying that you stop paying. I'm saying that if it's on the town property, the homeowner shouldn't be.
And I agree, if it's a town line issue, and the town line issue is part of the service to the property lines from the main.
Yeah.
And it's old and dilapidated, that's our problem.
That's
But if you put something in your sanitary that got lodged out in the street, and it came from your house, like, I don't know, did you flush a diaper? I don't know.
Or people.
But should that be a town resolved issue?
Well-
If you knowingly did something contrary to the bylaw, or put a bunch of grease in there and it became lodged, again, that's maybe you should be paying for that, because you might not do it again. Lessons learned that cost you money sometimes stick around longer.
Yeah, I don't think we have to teach people lessons.
Well, yes, I think we do.
And I think if it's on town property, it's a town problem. If it's on your property, it's your problem.
Well, and I think what this says is, it depending on what the blockage is,
Yeah, and
that's the determining factor.
to determine that is very subjective.
Because I know lots of people camera nowadays too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that usually explains or makes a lot of easier decisions.
Camera their own services.
Well, lots of places auger out and then camera.
Or camera and then.
Or camera first and then auger out, one or the other, to
Well, that's-
determine what it is.
It's usually nicer to camera when it's clean,
Yeah,
and you can still tell that there was a problem there. There's just still some roots hanging.
but still, it becomes a very large bill by the time it's done.
Yeah, we subcontract all that out. Expensive.
Okay. Well, if there's no other questions, we'll call for the vote and see where it goes. So all in favor of the sanitary sewer?
As amended.
Yes, the one number change as amended, you're right, and Chris even knows that. Okay. Opposed? Carried. All right, other,
I was hoping Jim would be here for this one.
the Redcliff tree lighting 2024 review.
I don't think we're gonna adjourn tonight.
Huh?
Not gonna adjourn tonight.
Okay,
Jim's not here.
all right.
He asked this question at the last
Now-
meeting. Is he?
He did.
wondering if it was worth it?
But if it's in his package,
Yes, to GPC or the last council meeting. I don't recall that.
Yeah, he wanted to know if this was worth it and if we should be holding the tree lighting event. I'm assuming that's why this was brought forward this week.
That is correct. Just to provide you with the information.
yeah, it just gives a costing breakdown of it. Yeah.
Good assumption.
I still think it's a good idea.
It is a good idea.
We don't
Let's
go
oversee-
oversee any of the events.
Does the town have generators?
Yes.
Yes.
Because I don't think Lions Park, or sorry, Memorial Park is smitten with high power electric. I don't know what services are
What
there
comes off
to
that
the,
pole that lights the.
I don't know what's gone to the basketball courts. I don't know what power we have, but when they talk about increasing all the
Yeah.
increasing power
Higher voltage
for
power.
better, for more cookery and all that kind of stuff, it may not be available. Well, all the pots and shit they plug in, I don't know what they
What
plug.
you meant. I'm just not sure it's a word.
It probably isn't.
Generators. Oh,
Yes, they are. But you can, if you run them far enough away on an
I guess you
extension
put them in
cord.
Parkside, but then you lose all your average draw. And
Oh.
Good purpose.
Yeah,
It was something that was identified, so we would have to look at options.
Louder speaker, definitely a good idea.
That is
That
on the
little
list.
tiny thing was a junk.
it could have been just the speaker.
The Costco special.
No, I'm talking the speaker.
Oh,
Person.
yeah. that could be too. No one was listening but Tom and his two daughters.
Okay, excellent. We like it. Matt moved for information, all in favor? Opposed, carried. 2024 development stats for information. Larry,
Welcome back. I think that, 2 extra applications was a notable increase.
That's a 25% increase.
So I'd like to just go over our development stats from 2024. In 2024, the town did receive 59 development permit applications. This is a sharp decline over our 5-year average of 92. However, we will look at that in just a little bit as to some of the reasons why. However, though, the town did see some increases in new home starts and commercial and industrial development. The other category, which is where we saw our sharpest decline of 33%, that includes some of those small projects like detached garages, gazebos, hot tubs, sheds, and decks and those sorts of things. So really what that's telling me is people really weren't doing much around their houses this year. Or they weren't. In the fall of 2023, the town adopted the new land use bylaw. We did use it in the fourth quarter of 2023. However, it wasn't until 2024 that we really started to use the land use bylaw. And part of the adoption of that land use bylaw was just to streamline some processes and cut some red tape there. So couple different things where we no longer require development permits are the solar panels that are attached to a building, our home occupations where there are no clients attending, or that permit to stay process that we used to go through. So those 3 alone accounted for over 22% of all our development permits in the 2023 year. So that's a large portion of where we fell off in our development permits. So it wasn't that we necessarily development permits were down that much. It was just we didn't require a lot of what we did in the year previous. So while it looks bad, let's look at some good news. Development permits in 2024 were valued at just over $24 million, which is a significant increase of your 5-year average of $6.5 million. So the largest increase we did see was in your commercial and industrial area. This category also includes your institutional buildings and public buildings.
one of those get canceled.
Especially. Yeah. But even if you take that out there, even if you take out that was $14.1 million, we're still above your 5-year average.
Okay.
So even taking away the one big project, we're still better than average.
But much more in line.
Which, not really. We're still, I mean, you take away 14 million from your 24, that leaves you with 10.
Yeah, which is 2023 was that?
Your 2023, yeah, but I mean, if you look at your
5-year
average, is
about 40% higher.
Safety codes, again, was down a little bit over our 5-year average in 2024. Again, I would liken this to what we're seeing for lack of small projects in around the housing, doing renovations and whatnot. So over the last 5 years, the town has averaged usually about 3 new home starts. 2024 did see 3 new housing starts, 2 single-family homes and 1 multi-family development. And the development department does see growing interest in the incentive packages.
Is there taking those yet?
Officially, no, but there is 5 of them on the books.
Right, because it have to be completed before.
Correct. Yeah. Commercial and industrial also includes our institutional buildings, which we did talk about there. So again, 9 applications in this, which is notable over the last 2023. But again, and we're right on the 9-year average. the exciting or exciting thing to see here is the development or the cost of development is way up. The value of our developments that are happening are way up in the last couple of years. So we do have another project that should be starting here shortly, valued at just over $6 million too, as well as the $14 million one, which may or may not be.
But that $14 million, do we collect taxes on school properties?
Nope.
So it really doesn't.
We pay.
Well, I know we pay, but it doesn't affect the tax base having a nice $14 million development. It's on a non-taxable property.
They pay for a permit though.
But I think it goes into the equalized assessment. It goes into the overall assessment and then the province charges accordingly. Anyway. Okay,
Anybody have any questions regarding this or?
2025 is looking way better though.
I think it is looking better. I think there's good news on the horizon.
Okay. Any questions of Brian? I like all the pictures. Okay,
These are all AI.
yeah, you can tell. Electricians never wear pouches.
His hands are weird.
Yeah, anyway, okay. Larry moved that, all in favor? Opposed, is carried. And then council important meetings and events for info. Mount.
Are you going tomorrow?
I am.
Do we have quorum for the 12th?
I was just gonna ask if we could do a reminder of the importance of attending that joint public hearing. And for those that are attending, need to be in attendance when second and third reading happen. I know there is concern with, or at least there was comments at the last meeting about people being,
At GPC, I think we talked about, there was people that knew they wouldn't be able to make either the 12th or they wouldn't be at
No,
the
no,
council
that's
meeting.
also me.
Okay, was
So-
council,
was concerned about attendance.
and you have to be there on time because you have to be there for the whole thing. Or it doesn't count too, so. Oh, well,
I'm also
And
I'll just have to try to work a bit early.
okay,
Hopefully it doesn't snow.
yeah, that, it should be just cold and clear.
Because I plan on being here on the 24th.
was Jim in?
Jim,
I think Jim is unknown.
I thought he said no.
he said he presented on his surgery.
Yeah.
You're in, Larry?
Yes, without a doubt.
And you're in, Kathy? So it's 3 for sure is needed.
Well, you need 4 because
Because it's either him or Jim.
Oh, Matt, you got a lot, sorry.
You'll need 4 and then you need that 4 when we hear in second. and third.
but they can be done at one meeting.
Yes, unless there's changes or anything's different proposed.
There could, even then, I think it would still go for second and third.
You could have second reading as amended if there was changes. It just, I guess, depends on,
Because on the 13th, the day after that, we have our IMC meeting, so we'll be going over the anything presented at the public hearing.
Right. So the big thing is at least 4 attend this, because after that, even if it isn't the next council meeting, the council meeting after, we can do the vote on a meeting when those 4 people are there.
same.
Yes, I know that, but so the big thing is getting 4 there, otherwise it can't happen at all.
yeah, you can put me down for being there.
I take one for the team, Matt.
Okay. What else? Friday, you're going. There is a meeting with some ministers on Friday, but I guess.
We'll talk about it a little bit later.
Oh, well, okay then. Okay, it's not happening on this page then.
You don't see a GPC meeting
happening sometime in the next 2 months.
Potentially in March.
That's a long ways away, okay. Because everybody was threatening to not even be here on February for some reason. Okay, Matt moved that, all in favor? Opposed, carried. 5-minute recess?
Sure.
Don't click the button, yeah. You turn your microphone up.
Tom, can you hear us?
Martin. Okay. So would somebody like to make a motion about the operations?
No,
Sure.
oh, yes.
Okay, I'll make option one. Through Gord Bamford 25th anniversary tour. Days on June 13th, 2025 in Lions Park.
Okay. Any questions or concerns? All in favor? Opposed? Defeated.
I'll make a,
This is first land matter B.
yeah. What?
D?
D,
ADE.
Delta, not Bravo.
Delta.
Delta.
I will make a motion that administration offer a 5% commission to Maxwell Canyon Creek Realty.
Rod Gilbert. Not to the whole real.
Okay, to Rod Gilbert of Maxwell, thank you, Canyon Creek Realty. In relation to 116 Second Street Northeast, and then you can put the legal land title in there. But sale that land, however you go with that. Authorize you guys to offer them a 5% commission to sell that parcel. No, my motion is fine.
So is it 5 for the buying realtor and matching for the selling realtor then?
That's not good. Letter. Says 5.
5 total, or I would go 3 and 2. That'll teach them all.
Because normally it's
I know.
both sides, right?
You must have somebody lined up.
We're selling.
Totally.
It would be 5%.
Okay, does that make sense?
Sure. Not to a maximum of 5%. Just would you be friendly with that?
I would be friendly with that.
Because then it's no more.
The
Not
maximum-
this, not the other thing. That's it.
Okay. I say it's 5%, it's no more, right?
Okay,
Okay, you say that now.
Okay, so friendly amendment to a maximum of 5%.
5% of the total sale, land sale. That means both are covered. Both sides are covered. They have their answer.
Well, they're all gonna be together now anyway.
No, we're not joining them. That's up to whoever buys
I
them.
mean the realtors. Whether it's, because if you're buying it and I'm selling it, your realtor makes money and my.
That's only on the 2 separate parcels of land.
Totally.
We only have one
The
that
one
we
is
sell.
ours. We only have 25 feet.
So it's telling him he can list them both, try to sell them. That's so try to sell them at one
If
time.
he sells ours, we're giving him up to a maximum of 5% commission. For our 25-foot parcel.
Okay, that's a lot of talk. Ready?
Yep.
Any more questions, silliness? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Still carried. Right,
The motion
operations?
to prove it to MPE engineering,
Land matter E.
or D on yours.
No,
It's E.
Oh, yeah, E, right? It doesn't change.
I didn't drink enough coffee today.
I'm just, so many of them here, I'm going, which land matter is what? Yeah, I was even trying to follow this, but they're not even all in order. Cause 2 or 3 of them weren't supplied, so it's like, anyway. Chris, any questions or concerns?
No, I don't.
All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Down to G, H. All right,
H there, G.
69. Policy 69. Does anybody want to make that motion?
For the 3 weeks.
Well, that's
For
for,
the whole policy.
that's to give her the power to incentivize.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
It's not giving them 3
No,
weeks.
I understand that. That's the maximum that's gonna be is 3 weeks.
Well, we
That's what
don't,
it says.
I don't know what,
It says that her discretion is what it says.
technically, when you read the MGA, we don't get to tell them what to do. And we don't get to see what they've done
Okay. So she could give them 54 weeks a year.
of holidays,
Holidays, yeah.
yes?
That's what this
And,
policy says.
and he would never
And
give them back.
bump them up to level 5.
Can you imagine 54 weeks?
No, it's impossible.
It would be hard. You have to do a lot in a few weeks.
You would.
I would think a couple.
Yeah, yeah, you carry them over and every 10 years you get another year off. Hey, any more questions or concerns? Don't give them ideas. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried.
I'll move adjournment. What? You're sleeping over there.
I didn't know who was gonna do it.
10:29. It's 10:30 now. Even numbers.
You can just have this all.
Oh, all in favor?
He is sleeping tonight.
No,